BioWare and Electronic Arts are hoping you play Anthem for a long time. Like Destiny and The Division, it's intended to sustain an audience with promises of updated missions and dreams of better gear. They're meeting this challenge with a gorgeous open world, a dramatic story, and responsive mech suits called Javelins that control like nothing we've ever played before. Unfortunately, too many frustrating issues get in the way of what could otherwise be an incredible journey.
So many things you are doing. Wonderful. I'm curious, what do you remember most? Good times? Bad? What? Honest now.
Known for their rich worlds, BioWare has filled Anthem's campaign with a large number of narrative threads, complicated characters, and unexpected twists. Every mission leads back to Fort Tarsis, your base of operations and community of quest givers. As you complete contracts, more people seek your assistance, and the environment evolves as you change their lives. You spend a lot of time chatting with the locals, even though it feels odd for your hero to be so nosy. Most interactions give you dialogue choices that sometimes let you choose where to guide the storyline, but it never goes so far as to open up one mission versus another. The smooth animation helps bring the elaborate plot to life, but it might take a bit to get caught up with the world's lingo, and many of the script's attempts at humor miss the mark.
I'm just learning the regulator game, but my Uncle Ronnie said, "We made them an offer they couldn't refuse."
You play as a mercenary pilot called a Freelancer and can pick one of 4 Javelin types for each mission: the damage-dealing Storm, weapon-heavy Ranger, fortified Colossus, or nimble Interceptor. You fly across the steep map, clear out enemy camps, and search through caves and temples. You're armed with 2 guns, a grenade, and 3 Javelin-specific abilities. Each Javelin has its own clear rhythm, which helps you find the speed that fits your style of play and gives you more tools to experiment with as you level up. It doesn't take long before Anthem starts to get repetitive, and the thrilling and responsive way these suits feel is the biggest reason to keep going. You can blast forward by clicking the left thumbstick and hover with the right. You can't burn your engines forever, but the maps are designed with plenty of vertical exploration in mind. Facing threats on multiple levels gives the combat unique opportunities for dodging and attacking, and after hours of exploring, it still feels good to jump off a high point and fire the jets in midair. You visit the same locations and perform many of the same objectives over and over, so the fact that it can be really fun to simply navigate the terrain helps a lot. The weapons also pack the right amount of punch. When there's synergy in your 4-person squad and you're all unleashing elemental combos, Anthem is at its best. Unfortunately, even 2 weeks after the first group of players gained access, the way Anthem is built takes a lot of energy away from the path to level 30 and beyond. There's a lot of downtime, even with a solid matchmaking system, multi-objective contracts, and a free roam option where you can complete world events and clear out the opposition at your leisure. While strolling around Fort Tarsis can be immersive, it takes a lot of time to catch up with everyone when you have to meet in person to move on to the next contract. Most conversations are optional, but give you small amounts of loyalty points, gradually unlocking weapon and armor recipes for crafting. So it's cumbersome to keep each conversation going, but worth it if you want to keep your gear at max level early on. Although loading times have improved since launch, you encounter so many of them that they seriously mess with the game's flow. You can't equip new items mid-mission, so you have to wait through a loading screen back at the fort to upgrade. Loading into a mission always puts you a minute away from your first objective, requiring you to travel a distance that feels unnecessary after you become familiar with each zone. The game can get temperamental when your squad travels too far apart, forcing you into another loading screen, though this has been remedied a bit with a recent patch. BioWare has also added a launch bay where all your workstations are in one room. Tarsis can be a charming place to hang out, but the process of finishing one outing and starting another takes too much time. When you first fly into a new area or zigzag through a dark cave into a massive chamber, the scale of this world is very impressive. But being airborne makes up a large chunk of your overall playtime and feels routine after a while. Although you have a host of different characters leading you along through the radio and your helmet, you rarely meet up with famous friends or villains out on the battlefield. There are only a handful of boss fights, and a lot of the mission objectives can start to feel similar before the campaign is even halfway finished. We completed the story in our early 20s, and the race to level 30 started to drag almost instantly. You can join other parties on random expeditions or repeat one of a handful of strongholds that give the best loot, but they all return you to the same locations and ask you to finish the same types of activities. The story continues well after the end credits, with new dialogue in the fort and while you're out and about, but it's so time-consuming to check in with characters and swap your gear that the momentum slows down a lot when you approach the final chapters. You can finish groups of challenges naturally over time, or focus on a list of daily, weekly, and monthly activities to stay busy, but the current endgame loop isn't as exciting as we'd hoped, despite improvements made to the loot system since launch. Modes that have worked for similar games like PvP matches or checkpoint races would definitely help to break up the tedium. Even if you settle into Anthem's repetition, there are technical concerns that cannot be ignored. The game has crashed on us a few times and frequently runs into issues connecting with servers. Enemies sometimes spawn forever, and mission queues fail to trigger. Our freelancers slipped through the floor once, and we had to drown ourselves to respawn. Another time, the color customization window got buggy, erasing our javelin design. Character models in Fort Tarsus can glitch out, and a few conversations kept disappearing when we got near them. Enemies can also suddenly vanish, and maps and menus take a minute to load when you arrive in each spot. When Anthem does work as intended, it's quite a sight. The world has a variety of ecosystems, and taking down a towering Ursix or Titan can be a spectacle with the right team. When everyone unleashes their most powerful attacks, it's satisfying to light up a group of targets with a colorful and devastating fireworks show. You can collect different armor pieces exclusive to each Javelin class, but it's also gratifying to simply switch up your suit's color scheme. There are textures and emotes you can buy, either with in-game currency or real funds. We weren't surprised to find microtransactions, but never felt the need to pick up more stuff at further expense. The shop in the game only offers a few items a week anyway.
The freelancers are too few, too scattered, and too unreliable.
And if I improve that?
Then things will change.
With all its design hiccups and elaborate but exhausting missions, Anthem is tiring to play, and that's too bad. You can tell the game is capable of incredible things when you first try on a Javelin and see the massive, beautiful world waiting to be explored. But it's safe to say Anthem's launch has not been very inspiring, despite the freedom of its excellent combat and a surprisingly broad story told by a devoted and expressive cast. We could see ourselves one day returning to this fascinating place, but we have no problem leaving our Javelins in the Forge for now.
You are a calculating and hard person, and I must respect that.
Okay.
Easy Allies reviews are made possible by generous viewers just like you. If you like what you see, check out patreon.com/easyallies to help us make more. For just $1 a month, you can gain access to weekly updates, spoiler discussions, and exclusive shows.